Hey crew, and I'm back with some more MBTI. It's been a while since we've done an MBTI video, but that's because I've been really getting comfortable with it. Now we're going to be getting back into it, and so I'm going to do an explanation on how the type grid works in my system and how typology in general works in my system. We're going to rehash it. This is going to be a whole new playlist. This is based loosely on the workings of Carl Jung, also on the works of Myers or MBTI Myers Briggs. They are the people who came up with the letters, right? Was Myers and Briggs. Now, I deviate in some of my definitions in the way that my system works, but I believe that I have a slightly better fit according to what Carl would have wanted. So, let's talk about the main differences in what I do. I believe that it can be broken down into a series of binary choices. There are 5 binary choices, and what the binary choices give us is an easy way to determine how you think. Now, this is going to vary widely from human to human, but there are some very general things that work, right? First and most importantly, things and ideas. You are either dealing with the solid things that you can actually put your hands on or actually do in the current moment into the past. And what does that mean? Like, if you can pick it up and touch it, right? It's a thing, right? Whereas an idea, which is the opposite side of that, is something that you cannot ever actually put your hands on. You can work on it, you can theorize, you can extrapolate, you can do all of the various things in the scientific method, which will allow you to investigate. But you can't actually put your hands on any part of that at any point in time. Now, you personally have a preference. You either prefer to deal in the solid things that you can actually touch, or you prefer to deal with ideas. Now, everybody uses every single part of the type grid. If you are a things person, that doesn't mean you don't have ideas. It means that you don't linger there. That's not what you are about. You are about the actual things, and the ideas allow you to get the things. This is the most important of the ones to get it started in differentiating. Now, when you get into the better or the not the better or worse, the new versus the old, right? That is, are you seeking a new idea or a new thing, or are you perfectly content just sorting through the ones that you have already? Do you always seek the best idea, or do you seek the new idea? Do you seek the best tool, or do you just use what tools you have? Do you seek to organize everything, or are you somewhat chaotic and disorganized? If you're disorganized, you are going to tend to lean towards the new things because you get a little bit distracted sometimes. There's a new shiny thing over there. I want to touch it. So you get disorganized. Whereas if you deal with someone who is organized in whatever they're doing, whether it's their thoughts or their things, they know exactly where everything is and they go and they get the best one, right? Whatever the best tool is, I need a 9 millimeter socket. I need a 10 millimeter socket. Good luck with that. Whatever it is, they know the tool that you need. You need this particular thing with this amount of torque, right? They know exactly what you need. They're organized. They're organized about things. People who are organized about ideas tend to lean towards one idea. This idea, the one I have, is the best one ever. And now, I personally am one of those people. I tend towards the best idea. I use all the information that I gather to point me towards the best idea. So all of the things that I see, all of the new ideas and new things, all of that points me with my wanting to organize the ideas towards the one thing. I have 3 or 4 one things. MBTI is one of those one things. Bible study is another one of those one things. Dealing with uh, emotional issues and substance abuse issues. Those are my one ideas, right? What is the best way to handle this thing going forward, as opposed to all of these things that did not work in the past. So once you determine whether you like things or ideas, and whether you like organizing the new ones, or organizing the old ones, or finding the new ones, then you can move on to whether you do that for yourself or for the tribe. Now, for yourself does not mean in a selfish manner necessarily, but it means that you like to get the information for yourself and then you'll relay it to other people. That doesn't dictate the manner in which you do that. That is another check down below. But whether or not your primary motivation is for yourself or for other people. I personally I'm self tendencies, right? I like to do things for myself. I like to know the best path for myself. And then once I do, I will dispense that to the tribe. I'm perfectly willing and I'm unselfish with it. I do it freely on the internet. But it's only after I have taken it and used it for myself. It's only after it has satisfied my need to do the best path for me. And then I can dispense that to other people. So your motivation might be different. Your motivation might be, I want to get this information to give to everybody and then never implement it for yourself. That's unwise, but that's how some people tend to be. Then some people, as soon as they get $1, they give it away, right? That is tribe things probably new, right? So that is you being focused on doing the best for the tribe before yourself, giving away too much time or energy or, yes, money. If you are giving away too much, then you're probably tribe oriented. If your primary driver or primary motive is another person, it's tribe oriented. But the tribe does not mean everyone. The tribe means everyone important to you, and only the people who are important to you. So if there is someone in your vicinity who is not in your tribe, you don't care, right? That you might care, but you don't really care. Whereas your tribe is your tribe. It is hopefully your family. It is hopefully your friends, the people that you keep close to you. That is who your tribe is for the most part. Some people it is literally everyone. But for most people, it's a very select few people. And that's who you are motivated towards helping, right? For a teacher, it's their students. They are motivated towards helping their students. Well, for a doctor, hopefully, it's their patients. That's a tribe. Now, that's not an intimate tribe, is it? That is a tribe that you are directed towards in doing this thing. If your primary motivation in your personal life is to do it for other people or for yourself, is the primary directive, right? Now, if you're trying to do MBTI for someone else, and it is possible in this system, I believe, with a large degree of accuracy, even if they lie, because you can focus on the patterns they tend to talk about. So if someone is talking in an interview, for example, because we will be using those, and they are talking an awful lot about their family or their best friend or their significant other or whoever it happens to be, if they're focused more on that than themselves, then they're probably tribe as opposed to self. It is not, however, infallible. You will probably type yourself wrong the first 2 times you do it because it's very hard to be honest with yourself about things. Now, that being said, you can type other people, but you should always, 100% of the time, keep that open to it is your interpretation thereof. Do your best, right? This is a fun thing, and we're going to be doing it for fun. I'm in no way, shape, or form a doctor, although I have helped people with this system. By doing this, I have helped people to change their lives. That's me giving it back to the tribe. I used it for me first. I'm in a much better place than I was when I started. Which brings us to our next set of factors, right? Rigid or flexible. Now this is T and F. This is, are you getting the information and bending around it, or are you barreling through the middle of it? Very good, easily recognizable T is Sheldon Cooper. Sheldon Cooper has to have everything his way, right? Everything, this is my spot, this is our schedule for the bathroom. Sheldon Cooper is a perfect example of a T. Well, an F is a little bit harder because an F will flex around people's ideas and they will receive it and kind of do the opposite of Sheldon. Not quite like a Leonard, but pretty close, right? Whereas Sheldon, the character Sheldon Cooper is very much an I, right? He is very much self-oriented. He is very much ideas-oriented. He is one idea oriented, so he's going to be an N. He's going to be an I. He's going to be very rigid, so he's going to be a T, right? So he's going to be an INTJ. And so we can take that and look at the INTJ. And then you got Leonard. And Leonard is more focused on helping other people. So Leonard is more focused towards tribe. And he is also ideas, but he's more open to other ideas. So he's more of an NE, so he's going to be a P. He is more flexible with the ideas. When he receives new information, he doesn't immediately push back. He considers it first. And if he is wrong, he will flex around it and not try to force his way through it. That is a good explanation of the Fs, but a lot of the Fs tend to be hippy-dippy type people, right? They are very empathic by nature. It's fully half of the population. And so they tend to lean towards the people who help other people. They tend to lean towards the counseling type of situation where they can take a very difficult situation and be the flex around whoever they need to be to give them comfort. We will get, it's a lot easier to point out Sheldon than it is to point out the other. And we'll have to do that by examples as we go through. But having Sheldon as the example of the T is really good for contrasting against for the F. And then the last one is going to be direct versus info, right? This is how you give information back. If you are talking a lot about the same thing repeatedly, you're probably going to be information. If you give, however, your information in 1 or 2 word bursts, you're probably direct. There are things that affect that. Now, you can give a lengthy speech and be direct. I'm doing it now. The point is to not repeat information any more than is necessary to enhance the comprehension. So if you're giving information out, you do it quickly, as fast as you can, and then you wait to see a response. Whereas an informative person will just keep talking until somebody shuts them up. They will repeat the point over and over and over again. There will be a cycle where if you don't stop them from talking, they will either wander off into way far off rabbit holes or just keep explaining the same circle over and over again. That's informative, right? That is how you give information back. And in order to, let me get the right thing pulled up real quick. In order to explain this a little bit better, we are going to look at the type grid. Now, there are a couple of different variations of the type grid out there. This is the one that I think works the best because it is the one that I designed. It has it separated into our categories, and hopefully this is easy enough to see for you. We have things across the top and ideas, right? These columns going down. The two on the left-hand side, the ISFJ T's are going to be our things right here. And the INT right here is going to be ideas, these two on the right, going down. And then we have the new and old separated here. Now, a P is new. They're looking for the new thing. A J is organizing the old things. That goes the same for both sides, right? So a P and a J, the same either way. The self is going to determine the I, and the tribe is going to determine the E. So these two columns across the top is going to give us the I and the E, or the I, and then the bottom's going to give us the E. That's either self or tribe. Now, I couldn't figure out how to fit it on the graphic in a way that wasn't just going to mess the graphic up. I'm not that gifted with SI. But the final determinant in the actual, the location of where you're at is going to be rigid and flexible. Or no. Self and tribe, new and old. Rigid and flexible. Yeah, rigid and flexible. So this top bar right here is going to be your rigid. It's going to be your T's, because they're going to be very much in control of how the situation is going down. Whereas the F's are going to be here. They're going to be your flexible. This entire bar across the middle right here. And it just occurs to me that y'all cannot see my mouse on this thing, but you can see what I'm talking about. And it's the same going down into the bottom. You get the ESTP, ESTJ, ENTP, ENTJ. They're all tribe. You can put people into these bars and figure them out as you type them along, right? This makes it really easy. You can quadrant it off. Okay, so this is ideas. That is just going to be dealing with 1/2 of this bar. If it's going to be things, it's going to be dealing with the other half of the bar. If it's going to be self, it's going to be dealing with the top half. If it's going to be tribe, it's going to be dealing with the bottom half. And then you can break it into smaller sections, and it gets a lot easier. But the last thing we need to talk about is our directed and informative. And what directed and informative does is one of the things that is really unique in what I do. You won't find another type grid like this because this is the one I made, but also because if you look at let's take the ISTP, because it is on the top left-hand corner and it's easy to point out. You notice it has TISE, NIFE, and then it has TISE, FE, NI. That is the difference between direct and informative, and it comes into that third slot that makes the determination there. Now, if you are naturally introverted as an ISTP, if you are naturally direct and you use very short definitions for things, then you're going to be a regular ISTP. That's going to be the top bar. But if you are an informative ISTP, you're going to be the bottom bar. And the main function difference is the NI and the FE, right? What this determines is how you give the information back. Does your information, let's see if I can get that pulled down just a little bit so I don't have to keep swapping back and forth. Y'all can go back and look at it. And what this is going to do is tell you whether or not you're direct or informative. All the other systems that I have tried, and I have tried most of the other systems, don't have a good determining factor for these things. I feel like this one does. I feel like that you can take these 5 determining factors and you can break down whether or not, or how someone receives information and how they give them back. The problem that's going to be is that nobody's going to feel super special anymore, because all of these types they're going to average out pretty close to even. There's 32 different variations, so it's not going to be like 100% breakdown this way, but there are an even distribution of these. There is no really special type anymore, because most people have been mistyped. It is a little bit arrogant to say something of that nature, but I have spent an awful lot of time thinking about it, and I don't say it lightly. I do believe that these things can help you to change your life, and we will be going more into how these different things can help you change your life. I will be revisiting each of the types as a group, right? So the main and the alternate. What this deals with, and using the ISTP in example, is how you receive your information. It's going to be your TI and your SE. You are controlling the new things. And that is how you receive the information. Oh, look, there's a new thing. Let me get control of it. And then to give it back to whoever you're communicating to, then you're going to use, if you're direct, your NI and your FE. You're going to tell them the best idea to use this new thing for. That's going to make them happy. Whereas if you are the alternate, you're going to be more focused on making them happy than you are letting them know about the best way to use the new thing. But you're still going to relay that information. It's just going to take you longer. You're extroverted in your give information back site. That's what the difference is in the system that I'm doing and what other people do. Now, there is one more thing to discuss, and we're just going to pull up a random one real quick. And that is this. And that is because there are 8 different cognitive functions, and you use every single one of them. Not all the time, and not to the best of your ability. There is a lot of difference in how people use their functions, even within the same type. All ENTPs are not going to do the same. They will all receive information about the new idea. They will all control that information, but they might extract a different part of that information. For instance, if you have a car, or car's not a good one. I don't want to use ideas because they get a little bit on the controversial side. So let's go over to things, right? And we'll swap over this real quick. And so this guy right here is going to be very much concerned about new things. And he's going to want to control the new things. And then he's going to want to give back or communicate back, hey, everyone, this is the best new thing. That's how this part of the stack works right here. But the bottom part of the stack also functions in his mind too. He's concerned about what the best thing overall is, just not as much. He's concerned about what other people think about his thoughts, but not as much. And so all of this stack you use all the time. The different information that you might pull out of this car, right? This is a new car, and you got 2 ESTPs that go up to it. One of them is going to know this is a new model of this, and it has these features. And then one of them's going to know that it has this sound system, right? It's got a new sound system inside this new car. And that's what they're going to be, the information they're going to pull out of, right? This other guy's going to pull out the engine. Another guy might pull out the exhaust. Who knows? But the new information that they pull out of this car, all seeing the same car, all being focused on the fact that it is a new car, right? They're all about the shiny thing. They all get a little bit different information from that car. It's the same car, but they all focus on a different part of that car. You have some people hyper-focus on all kinds of things, right? All kinds of ideas. It's important to note that even within a type, there is variation. But the overall is what we're concerned about. That's why it doesn't really matter if you lie. Because if you lie, you're still going to be lying about the big pattern. You're still going to be laying out your lists. You're still going to be not listing anything. You're still going to be going off on rabbit holes. You're still going to be doing all the things that make this typing a possibility. So even if you lie, it is going to be possible long term to catch you in it, type-wise, right? That doesn't mean that you should be using this that way. It is not a lie detection test. This is to help you figure out what's going on in your mind, right? That's how I got started on it. I really wanted to know what was wrong up here. There was something wrong and I couldn't figure it out. It's because I get hyper focused on things, or not on things, on ideas. I get hyper focused on the best idea. And I have to learn to work through that. But this system helped me to do that. I found out that this was the best idea. And so I developed this. I have seen other people use it on themselves and improve themselves. I can't improve anyone, and I don't even try. I try to lay out the tools that other people can use to help themselves. The point of typing other people, and this is the part where I got really uncomfortable, is because you go to a celebrity and you see some clips. There's no determining someone's course of their life from that, right? It just, you get tendencies and patterns. And so it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to presume to type people. I'm going to try to start with some of the people that I am more comfortable with because I've watched their stuff all the time. I really do know what's going on. And of course, that is going to cause confirmation bias. My biggest problem with this whole system is that I have only had positive results with it, right? I have not had anybody try to pick holes in it. All I've had is people who have applied themselves to it, and it's worked for everyone who has. And so I want to make sure that this gets out to a broader audience. So we've got better lighting, we've got a better camera. I can talk a little bit better. I have my words formulated a little better, so we're going to revisit the whole system. For those of you who hung around this long, thank you. I appreciate every single minute that you are here in my crew, right? I really do see this as a journey, and while I'm not really the captain, I'm kind of navigating somewhat, I think. And that is really where I'm trying to be with that, right? I'm not, God is my captain. I'm trying to help with the navigation. I'm trying to help with the tools. I'm trying to help people find their own way and not necessarily my way. Hopefully that is what I did. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of help. We will be diving into more of this as we go forward. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you were here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete, just the way that you are. And this has been Pitstick. Peace.